students, welcome to your online classes of chemistry. Today is the revision class of class 9. And the today topic is difference between solid, liquid and gas. So students, the first difference of solid is density of solid particle is high. Density of solid particle is high. It means number of particle is too much high. That is why density of solid is high. And the density of liquid particle is moderate. Moderate means it means a medium region. It means that is not too much high, not is too much low. And the density of gaseous particle is low because number of particles are present in too much far distance. That is why interparticle space between the two molecules is too much far. That is why density of gaseous particle is low. That is the first difference between solid, liquid and gas. And the second one difference is they have the different shape. Students, that is the solid particles and the place of solid particles, shape of solid particles is fixed. Shape of this particle is fixed. And they don't have definite shape. But liquid don't have definite shape. Why? Because if you put liquid in a bucket, it converted into bucket shape. When you put in a plate, it converted into plate shape. That is why the shape of liquid particles, the shape of liquid matter is not fixed, that is indefinite. And the second difference of gaseous particle is it also don't have definite shape. Like gas, if we spray dew, the shape of dew particles, which are the particles of gases, is not fixed. And the third difference is solid can diffuse into liquid. That is, diffuse in a liquid means diffusion particles. What is diffusion particles? Diffusion means intermixing of particles. Diffusion means intermixing of particles is less. Why? Because intermixing of particles is less. Why? Because that is the solid particles and that is the second one, solid particles. Then I want to mixing of these particles is less. Why? Because both are fixed shape and it have definite shape. That is why intermixing is not happen. That is why diffusion, rate of diffusion in solid is too much less. Diffusion is higher than solid. Solid can compare with liquid, but rate of diffusion is high. And the rate of diffusion of gaseous particle is maximum. Why? Because if we spray a dew, then we spray another spray like a fog, then mixing of both gaseous particle as well as fine. That is why diffusion of gaseous particle is maximum because it is easily happen. And the third and the fourth one property is interparticle force of attraction is very high. Why? Because the space between particles which is used to make of solid is present in too much closer. That is why, for example, that is solid and the particles of solid present too much closer. That is why it don't have interparticle space. So, interparticle force of attraction is too much high because force of attraction is too much high. Interparticle force of attraction is less strong. Why? Because the distance of intermolecular particles present is too much for distance. And the particle of gases have no force of attraction because the particle of gases present in too much far distance. For example, like as one particle present in this state and second one particle in present in far distance. That is why space between the two particles is too much far. That is why force of attraction between the two particles is too much less. And the next one, last property is solid have weak interparticle space. Solid have weak interparticle space. Why? Because it is nothing, and in liquid it is lesser because it has something, and in gaseous particle it is more than solid and liquid. For example of solids are board, chair, etc. Those type of solid substance which present in your surrounding, and those type of substance of liquid like as water, cold drink, and the particle of gases is air and perfume, etc. Students, that is the difference of solid, liquid and gas. That is the important topic for the examinations. And the next topic of today is, what is unit of temperature? What is unit of temperature? And how could I calculate the unit of temperature? So, what is unit of temperature? I discuss. Unit of temperature. So, what is unit of temperature? Unit of temperatures are those type of unit of temperature is those type of temperature, those type of unit which calculate the temperature is known. The unit of temperature is what? Students, those type of unit which used to calculate the temperature is known as unit of temperature. So, those type of unit which use to calculate the temperature is known as unit of temperature. Student, there are three units of temperature. First one is degree Celsius. Second one is Fahrenheit. And third one is Kelvin. But in this chapter, we are discussing about the degree Celsius unit of temperature and Kelvin unit of temperature, because Fahrenheit unit of temperature is not about your course. So, I discuss about the degree Celsius and Kelvin. Kelvin is demonstrated by capital K, and Celsius, degree Celsius is demonstrated by degree C. So, there are some numericals which are essential to use of unit of temperature, to how we can calculate the unit of temperature with the help of numericals. Discuss. So, students, firstly, calculate the temperature in Kelvin. So, there are some temperatures, for example, 15 degrees Celsius. Second one is -2 degrees Celsius. These two temperatures, and I convert this temperature in Kelvin. So, when we convert the temperature, degree Celsius temperature in Kelvin, add 273. Students, remember that, add only 273. Addition of 273 happen when we convert Kelvin to degree Celsius. So, first one is 15 degree Celsius. 15 plus 273. So, student, 5, 3, 8, 7, 1, 8 and 2. That is 288 Kelvin. So, 15 degree centigrade is equal to, when it convert into Kelvin, 288 Kelvin. And second one is minus 2 degrees Celsius. So student, minus 2 plus 273. Then answer is 271 Kelvin. So I hope you all are understood how we can calculate the temperature in Kelvin. And the next one is how we can calculate the temperature in degree centigrade. So students, when we convert the temperature in degree Celsius, we subtract the minus 273 in a given integer number. For example, here is 273 Kelvin. And second one is 300 Kelvin. How we can convert in a degree Celsius? So first one is 273 Kelvin converted into degree Celsius. 273 minus 273. Students, remember that in degree Celsius we less the 273, and in Kelvin when we convert it to Kelvin we add 273. So cancel together 0 degrees centigrade. So 273 Kelvin is equal to 0 degrees Celsius. And second one is 300 Kelvin. 300 minus 273 is equal to 27 degrees Celsius. I hope you all are understood what is the difference of solid, liquid and gas, and how we can calculate degree Celsius and temperature, what is unit of temperature. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hello students, welcome to the online classes of Shivaji Group of Institutions. Myself Prachi Trivedi, your class teacher. Students, yesterday we have discussed the chapter exponent of real number. Okay. Now today we will continue this chapter. Firstly, rational exponent of real number. Rational exponent of real number. Let a is a positive real number and n is a positive integer. Then the value of nth root of a is x. The value of nth root of a means the value of nth root of a is x. Okay? Or we can write this formula in the form of x is equals to nth root of a. Okay students? And rational power for any positive real number a, if a rational power p upon q, power is p upon q, then means a raised to p upon q. We can write it in the form of a p 1 upon q. Clear students? Now let's see one example, which is 36 raised to 1 by 2. Okay? Student, we can write it. Okay? Now 36 is equals to 6 into 6. We get the answer 6. Okay? Now students, similarly, if another example, 8 raised to 2 by 3. 8 raised to 2 by 3. Then we solve this. 8 square upon 1 by 3. Okay? 8 square means 8 8 is 64. 1 by 3. Okay students? And we know that 64 is the 4 into 4 into 4. 4 4 is 16, 16 4 is 64 raised to 1 by 3. then we can write it 4q raised to 1 by 3. Okay, students, here 4 into 1 by 3, when we get the answer which is 4. Okay, now let's solve another example. Okay students, now let's see the question root 4 raised to minus 3. The second question is 64 upon 125 raised to minus 2 upon 3. And the third question is 3 by 4 raised to minus 3. Solve this question with the help of law, product law and powers rational property, all of these property. Now let's see. Firstly student, we can write, we know that root 4 is 2, is minus 3. Okay, now using the property, okay, we get 1 upon 2q and the answer is 1 upon 8. 1 upon 8. Now the second question is 64 upon 125. Firstly, we know that 64 is 4 into 4 into 4 and 125 is 5 into 5 into 5. Okay, it becomes minus 2 by 3. We can write it 4q upon 5q 4 minus 2 upon 3. Okay students, now we know that here the powers are same, then we can write it in the form of this. Okay, now it becomes 4 upon 5 whole cube into minus 2 by 3. Then this becomes 4 upon 5 minus 2. Okay students, then it becomes 1 upon 4 upon 5 whole square, means 1 upon 16 upon 25. When we divide it, it will be changed, it becomes 25 upon 16. Okay, and the answer is 25 upon 16. Clear students? Let's see the question. Now the next question is, students, the question is 3 upon 4 raised to minus 3. Okay, we can write it 1 upon 3 upon 4 raised to 3. Okay, it becomes 1 upon 3 into 3 into 3 upon 4 into 4 into 4, means 1 upon 3 3s are 9, 9 3s are 27 upon 64. When we divide it by 1, it will be changed. Numerator become denominator and denominator become numerator, means answer is 64 upon 27. Clear students? Now let's see another example. The question is 27 raised to minus 2 upon 3 into 125 raised to minus 2 upon 3. Okay students, now we can write it 27. We know that 27 is the cube of 3. Then it becomes 3 into 2 upon 3. Okay, into 125 is the cube of 5. It becomes minus 2 upon 3. Clear? Now students, here we use the property which is A P raised to 1 upon Q, means we can write upon Q, we can write in AP 1 upon Q. We use this property, become 3 into minus 2, 3 into 5 that's all for today. We will continue this chapter on my next class. Thank you.
Students, good afternoon. Myself Salit, teacher of Shivaji Group of Institution. I am going to explain the chapter is motion of physics class 9 in English medium. Look at a body travels in semi-circular path of radius 10 meter starting its motion from point A to point B. Calculate the distance and displacement. First of all, find out the value given to us in this question. Now, given in this question, radius 10 meter according to question. Then body travels in semicircular path. Now, let this is initial position and this is final position. The object travel in semicircular path. Now its semicircular path and radius are equal to 10 meter according to question. Then given radius are equal to 10 meter, calculate the distance and displacement. Now distance. What is distance? What is distance? Distance is length of path. Now equal to perimeter of semi-circular path. Then distance is equal to perimeter of semicircular path pi r. Then r is radius. But what is pi? Pi is a constant value. This value pi is equal to 3.14. Now distance as pi 3.14 into what is radius? 10 meter. Now 31.4 meter. Then find the distance 31.4 meter. Now according to question, and find the displacement. Second point, displacement is equal to 2r. How is displacement is equal to 2r? According to definition of displacement, what is displacement? Displacement is minimum separate distance between final and initial point. Now initial and final point separate distance r and r. In total distance is 2r. Now displacement is equal to 2r. 2 into radius. Radius 10 meter is equal to 20 meter. Displacement. Hello students. A body travels in semi-circular path of radius 10 meter starting its motion from point A to point B. Calculate the distance and displacement. You know what is distance? Distance according to definition of distance is length of path. According to figure, length of path as a parameter of semicircular path. Now its formula is pi r. Distance is equal to pi r. The value pi is 3.14 into radius 10. Then 31.4 meter. Now find the distance. And second point, displacement. Displacement is equal to 2r. According to definition of displacement, what is displacement? Displacement is separate distance between final and initial point. Now distance r and distance r, total distance is 2r. Then displacement is equal to 2r is equal to 2 into 10, now 20 meter.
हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, आज मैं क्लास 9th में पेज नंबर 39 में आपको दोहा छंद पढ़ाती हूँ। बच्चों, इसमें देखिए परिभाषा। सबसे पहले दोहा एक अर्ध समात्रिक छंद है। इसमें 4 चरण होते हैं। प्रथम तथा तृतीय चरण में 13 मात्राएं होती हैं तथा दूसरे तथा चौथे चरण में 11 मात्राएं होती हैं। चरण के अंत में यति होती है। अब बच्चों, ये परिभाषा के बाद आता है उदाहरण। उदाहरण देखिए, मेरी भव बाधा हरो राधा नागरी सोई, जातन की झाई परय श्याम हरित दुति हुई। अब बच्चों, जैसे आपने डेफिनेशन में लिखा है, परिभाषा में लिखा है कि पहले तथा तीसरे चरण में 13 मात्राएं। अब देखिए, पहला चरण आपका यहाँ से लेकर के हरो तक है। फिर तीसरा चरण आपका उसी के ठीक नीचे यहाँ से लेकर के और यहाँ तक है, जहाँ पर ये चिन्ह लगा हुआ है। इस चिन्ह को व्याकरण की भाषा में यति कहते हैं। अब बच्चों देखिए, छंद में आपको मात्राएं कैसे लगाना है। तो मेरी भव बाधा, मेरी में देखिए इसका उच्चारण हम जोर से करते हैं, इसलिए इसमें गुरु वर्ण की मात्रा लगेगी। फिर इसके बाद भव, इसका उच्चारण हमें करने में समय नहीं लगा, इसलिए यहाँ पर दोनों में लघु वर्ण लगेगा। फिर आइए बाधा, इसका उच्चारण करने में हमें समय लगता है, इसलिए दोनों में गुरु वर्ण है। हरो, इसमें लघु वर्ण और रा में गुरु वर्ण लगेगा। तो यहाँ तक आपकी 13 मात्राएं हो गई। राधा नागरी सोई, इसमें देखिए राधा का उच्चारण करने में समय लगता है, तो इसलिए दोनों में गुरुवर्ण। और फिर नागरी, इसमें गुरुवर्ण और गा में लघुवर्ण और रा में भी लघुवर्ण लगेगा। सोए गुरुवर्ण और लास्ट में लघुवर्ण। तो बच्चों इसमें 11, अब काउंटिंग कर लेते हैं। गुरुवर्ण की मात्रा 1 गिनी जाती है, लघु वर्ण की मात्रा 1 गिनी जाती है तथा गुरुवर्ण की मात्राएं 2 गिनी जाती है। तो 2, 2 4, 2 6, 2 8, 2 10, 11, 12, 13। तो पहले चरण में 13 मात्राएं हो गई। अब देखिए, राधा नागरी सोई 2, 2 4, 2 6, 1 7, 8, 9, 10, 11। तो बच्चों 13 और 11 मिला करके हो गया बराबर 24 मात्राएं। ठीक है, नीचे वाली पंक्ति में आइए, जातन की, तो जा का उच्चारण करने में समय लगा, इसलिए यहाँ पर गुरुवर्ण लगेगा। तन का, इसमें समय नहीं लगा, दोनों में लघुवर्ण लगेगा। कि, इसमें दोनों में इसमें गुरुवर्ण की मात्रा लगेगी। झाई, इसमें दोनों में गुरुवर्ण होगा। परय, इसमें लघुवर्ण और इसमें गुरुवर्ण। श्याम, जब कोई आधा शब्द होता है, आधा वर्ण होता है, तो उसको मिला करके गुरुवर्ण की मात्रा लगाई जाती है। लास्ट में लघु और हरित में, तीनों में उच्चारण करने में हमें समय नहीं लगा, इसलिए यहाँ पर लघुवर्ण। तुति, इसमें भी लघुवर्ण और गुरुवर्ण, फिर लघुवर्ण। तो यहाँ पर 13 + 11 बराबर 24 मात्राएं हो गई। जो 13 + 11 बराबर 24 मात्राएं हो गई। अब आइए आते हैं स्पष्टीकरण। देखिए स्पष्टीकरण में उपर्युक्त उदाहरण में 4 चरण हैं। प्रथम तथा तृतीय चरण में 13 मात्राएं हैं। दूसरे तथा चौथे चरण में 11 मात्राएं हैं। अतः यहाँ पर दोहा छंद है। हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, मैं आज क्लास 9th में पेज नंबर 40 में अलंकार आपको पढ़ा रही हूँ। देखिए बच्चों, सबसे पहले परिभाषा। काव्य की शोभा बढ़ाने वाले तत्वों या धर्मों को अलंकार कहते हैं। अलंकार का शाब्दिक अर्थ है अलंकृत करना अर्थात सुशोभित करना। अलंकरोति इति अलंकारा, जो विभूषित करता है उसे अलंकार कहते हैं। जिस प्रकार आभूषण शरीर की शोभा में वृद्धि करते हैं, उसी प्रकार अलंकार भी भाषा के सौंदर्य में वृद्धि करते हैं। बच्चों, परिभाषा पुनः सुने। काव्य की शोभा बढ़ाने वाले तत्वों या धर्मों को अलंकार कहते हैं। अलंकार का शाब्दिक अर्थ है अलंकृत करना अर्थात सुशोभित करना। अलंकरोति इति अलंकारा, जो विभूषित करता है उसे अलंकार कहते हैं। जिस प्रकार से आभूषण शरीर की शोभा में वृद्धि करते हैं, उसी प्रकार अलंकार भी भाषा के सौंदर्य में वृद्धि करते हैं। अब बच्चों आइए अलंकार के भेद। आपने जूनियर कक्षाओं में भी अध्ययन किया होगा अलंकार का। तो देखिए अलंकार के 2 भेद होते हैं, आप जानते हैं पहले से। पहला है शब्दालंकार, दूसरा है अर्थालंकार। आपके 9th के पाठ्यक्रम में सिर्फ शब्दालंकार के 3 भेदों का ही वर्णन किया जाएगा। तो अब आइए शब्द अलंकार किसे कहते हैं उसकी परिभाषा सुन लें। जहाँ काव्य या साहित्य में शब्दों के द्वारा चमत्कार उत्पन्न होता है वहाँ शब्द अलंकार होता है। शब्द अलंकार के कितने भेद होते हैं आपको पहले से मालूम होगा, लेकिन मैं फिर भी बताऊँ। शब्द अलंकार के 3 भेद होते हैं बच्चों। पहला अनुप्रास अलंकार, दूसरा यमक अलंकार और तीसरा श्लेष अलंकार। इन्हीं की परिभाषाएं और उदाहरण स्पष्टीकरण आपको याद करना है। अब आइए शब्द अलंकार का पहला भेद है अनुप्रास अलंकार। इसकी परिभाषा बहुत ध्यान से आपको सुनना है। देखिए, जहाँ किसी वर्ण या अक्षर की आवृत्ति, जहाँ किसी, यहाँ देखिए शब्द का कोई मतलब नहीं है। यहाँ बहुत से बच्चे शब्द लिख देते हैं, तो यहाँ अनुप्रास अलंकार में शब्द का कोई स्थान नहीं। तो जहाँ किसी वर्ण या अक्षर की आवृत्ति 1 से अधिक बार होती है वहाँ अनुप्रास अलंकार होता है। फिर से परिभाषा देखिए, जहाँ किसी वर्ण या अक्षर की आवृत्ति 1 से अधिक बार होती है वहाँ अनुप्रास अलंकार होता है। अब बच्चों, अनुप्रास अलंकार का उदाहरण स्पष्टीकरण मैं आपको कल इसी के आगे कंटिन्यू करूँगी।
A very good morning, students. Myself Aarti Yavle, student and teacher of Shivaji Group of Institution. In my previous lecture, I have explained you quality of human resources, in which I have explained you role of education and health. Now today I will continue the same chapter, and my today's topic are unemployment. Unemployment in the form of unused human resources. तो बच्चों, सबसे पहले बात करते हैं कि What do you mean by unemployment? Unemployment is said to exist when people are willing to work at the going wages cannot find jobs. तो बच्चों अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट कैसी सिचुएशन होती है जब लोग काम करना चाहते हैं गोइंग वेजेस पे, लेकिन उनके पास देयर इज नो चांसेस ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज. सो दिस इज अ कंडीशन where people are willing to work at the going wages but cannot find jobs. The workforce population include people from 15 years to 59 years. In case of India, we have unemployment in rural areas and urban areas. तो इंडिया में रूरल एरियाज में भी और अर्बन एरियाज में भी अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट दिखाई देती है. इन रूरल एरियाज we have unemployment like seasonal unemployment and disguised unemployment. Seasonal unemployment क्या होता है बच्चों? मौसमी बेरोजगारी related to the seasons. And disguised unemployment यानी प्रच्छन्न बेरोजगारी. In rural areas there are seasonal and disguised unemployment, and urban areas there are mostly educated unemployment. Now I am going to teach types of unemployment. First, seasonal. Seasonal यानी मौसमी बेरोजगारी. Seasonal unemployment when people are not able to find jobs during some months of the year. तो सीजनल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट क्या होती है बच्चों? कि जब लोगों को जॉब नहीं मिलती वर्ष के ईयर के कुछ मंथ्स में. People dependent upon agriculture face such type of unemployment. There are certain busy seasons when sowing, harvesting, weeding, threshing is done. Certain months do not provide much work to the people dependent on agriculture. तो बच्चों जो लोग एग्रीकल्चर पे डिपेंड होते हैं उनको कुछ मंथ्स में कुछ प्रॉब्लम फेस करनी पड़ती है. When these months provide which type of work like weeding, threshing, harvesting, sowing. So these certain months do not provide much work to the people who are dependent on agriculture. So this is seasonal unemployment related to the seasons. Now next is disguised unemployment. Disguised मतलब होता है प्रच्छन्न बेरोजगारी या इनविजिबल. In case of disguised unemployment, people appear to be unemployment. तो इसमें unemployed, इसमें क्या होता है कि बच्चों लोग किसी फील्ड में काम करते तो नजर आते हैं लेकिन वो क्या होते हैं? डिस्गाइज्ड अनएम्प्लॉयड होते हैं. वो अपेयर टू बी अनएम्प्लॉयड, उनको एम्प्लॉयड नहीं माना जाता. दे हैव एग्रीकल्चर प्लॉट वेयर दे फाइंड वर्क. दिस हैपन अमॉन्ग फैमिली मेंबर्स एंगेज्ड इन एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटी. तो बच्चों क्या होता है कि द वर्क रिक्वायर्स द सर्विस ऑफ 5 people but engage 8 people. यदि किसी काम में 5 persons की नीड है लेकिन उसमें 8 लोग लगे हुए हैं, 3 people are extra. These 3 people also work in same plot as 5 people. ये जो 3 people जो extra 3 people हैं वो वैसे ही काम करते हैं जैसे कि उस वर्क के 5 people करते हैं. But the contribution made by 3 people does not add to the contribution made by 5 people. These 3 people are extra. The work requires only 5 people and the extra 3 people are disguised unemployed. तो ये एक्स्ट्रा जो 3 लोग हैं जो उस वर्क में ये लोग भी लगे हुए हैं सेम प्लॉट में, लेकिन ये क्या है? हमारे अदृश्य हैं, disguised unemployed. So these are 2 types of unemployment found in rural areas. Students, now I am describing in urban areas. Urban areas, which type of educated unemployment यानी शिक्षित बेरोजगारी. In case of urban areas, educated unemployment has become a common phenomena. Many youth with matriculation, graduation and post-graduation degrees are not able to find job. तो शहरों में क्या होता है बच्चों, मैट्रिकुलेट और ग्रेजुएट और पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट कोई भी पर्सन जॉब को नहीं पा पाता है. A study showed that unemployment of graduate and postgraduate has increased faster than among matriculates. Now there are so many causes of unemployment. They are as follows. First, low level of education, mental issues, physical health problem, gender discrimination, mobbing, homelessness, burnout, stroke of field, financially crisis, structurally weak reasons, lack of motivation. Students, in my next video lecture, I will explain these causes briefly. So that's all for today, and you have to write notes of this lecture in your notebook with the help of PDF file that I will send you with this video. Thank you for attending the class.
Hello student, have a wonderful morning to one you all. I welcome you on this video lecture. Students, as you know that in these days we are studying the topic in language portion, that is your reordering. In reordering, what we are doing? We are putting the sentence in an order so that the meaning of the sentence must be clear to you. I hope so that you are getting this topic very well. Last 3 or 4 days we are studying different types of the sentences so that you can do the practice of the several sentences. So today we will also do the reordering of the some more sentences. The first one sentence is, tell to this work him without delay. So the particular sentence is not in an order. We have to put the sentence in an order. So the answer of this one is, tell him to do this work without delay. The answer of this one, tell him to do this work without delay. If we want to know about the sentence, so the particular sentence is an imperative form because it is started with your main verb. Tell him to do this work without delay. The second one is, my younger sister, your, is in class. I repeat the sentence, my younger sister, your, is in class. So, what's the answer of this one? The answer of this one, my younger sister is in your class. My younger sister is in your class. The third one, Rosa leaving Agra tomorrow is for. So, the answer of this one is this, Rosa is leaving for Agra tomorrow. The particular sentence is present continuous form because ing form is used here. The fourth one is, my father, you will each one of punish. So you have to arrange the sentence, my father will punish one of you. My father will punish one of you. It means the sentence is in future indefinite. The fifth one sentence is before you. Elders should their students the respect. I repeat the sentence. Elders should their student the respect. So you can arrange the sentence. The students should respect their elders. The student should respect their elders. It means विद्यार्थियों को अपने बड़े लोगों का सम्मान करना चाहिए. So there is a use of modals in this sentence. Yes. So student, your 6 number sentence is his bread begging earns by he. I repeat the sentence. His bread begging earns by he. So the answer of this one is he earns his bread by begging. वो अपनी जीविका किसके द्वारा कमाता है? By begging, to beg, भीख मांग करके. So if we want to know something about the sentence, so the particular sentence is present indefinite, and his bread means his livelihood. By begging, it's the source of his livelihood. Sentence number 7 is one hard work in should to succeed in life. I repeat the sentence. One hard work in should to succeed in life. So the answer of this one should work hard to succeed in life. One should work hard to succeed in life. It means to say, if we want to success, if we want to get success in life, so we should have to work hard. So here the use of modals you have read in your previous classes. The use of should, must, ought to, I told you thoroughly. Sentence number 8 one. This book 2 pages of 100 consist. I repeat the sentence. This book 2 pages of 100 consist. So the correct order of this one is this book consists of 200 pages. This book consists of 200 pages. So student, the particular sentence is present indefinite sentence because there is a use of s or es in main verb. There is a use of s or es in main verb. If we try to find out something about the sentence, so this book is your subject, and then after your main verb is used. Main verb is your consist, and because your subject is in singular number, the subject is in singular number, that is why we add s or es in our main verb. Then after preposition is used because consist always is of preposition, and 200 pages. This is the object of the sentence. Sentence number 9. Sentence number 9. Honesty, the policy best is. Honesty, the policy best is. So the answer of this one, honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy. It means to say ईमानदारी ही सबसे अच्छी नीति होती है. And student, there is a use of superlative degree in the sentence. Use of superlative degree, the best, good, better, best. You have read this one. And what is honesty here? We talk about the honesty. What is honesty here? I thoroughly taught you whenever I taught you parts of speech portion. So honesty is your abstract noun. Honesty is your abstract noun. And what is the adjective of honesty? Honest. Honest is the adjective and honesty is the abstract noun. Let's move further. Sentence number 10. Themselves help those helps who got. I repeat the sentence before you. Themselves help those helps who got. So the correct order of this one, God helps those who help themselves. God helps those who helps themselves. So the particular sentence is in present indefinite form because there is a use of s or es in our main verb. The main verb in the sentence is help. God is your subject. Those who help themselves. So if we talk about the type of the sentence, which type of the sentence is it? The sentence is complex sentence because who is used here? That is also the relative pronoun. And what is themselves here? What is themselves here? Themselves is your reflexive pronoun. So ईश्वर उन्हीं की सहायता करता है जो अपनी सहायता स्वयं करते हैं. So I hope so that you have got all the sentences, the correct order of all the sentences, and also the Hindi meaning of the sentences, student. So, student, your 11th number sentences, they homework regularly do their. I repeat the sentence, they homework regularly do their. So, the sentence is in correct order. They do their homework regularly. They do their homework regularly. So, student, the tense of the sentence is present indefinite. The tense of the sentence is present indefinite. And the subject is they. The subject is they. This is your main verb do. And you know the sentence is present indefinite. And whenever the sentence is present indefinite, we put the main verb according to your subject. Your subject is in plural form, so the only main verb is used. We don't use s or es in our main verb. And there, this is the possessive case of this one. This is the possessive case of this one. This word we use for possession, for authority. Homework regularly. This is the object. This is the object of the sentence. And regularly. Regularly, what is regularly over here? Regularly is your adverb. And regularly word come from your adjective. Regularly word come from your adjective regular. Sentence number 12. My grandfather stories me tells good. My grandfather stories me tells good. So the answer of this one is my grandfather tells me good stories. So the sentence is also in present indefinite form. The sentence is also in present indefinite form because tells is here. This is the first form of your main verb, and s is used here. Why s is used here? Because your subject is in singular form. This is the object. This is the object of the sentence. And good stories. Good stories. The two words are your object, but good. The good word is your adjective because it's telling the quality of this one. This telling the quality of this one. Story is your common noun. Let's proceed to another sentence. Sentence number 13. To impossible live without is water it. So I repeat the sentence. Too impossible live without is water it. So the sentence is in correct order. It is impossible to live without water. I repeat the sentence. It is impossible to live without water. So there is a use of it. There is a use of it. And in which sense we use it? When the subject is missing. When the subject is missing, we use it. Suppose that you have to say class में 40 बच्चा है, तो आप कैसे कहोगे? How can you say this sentence? You have to say there are 40 students in the class because subject is missing over here. In the same way, आज बहुत गर्मी है. आज बहुत गर्मी है. अगर ये sentence है, तो इस sentence में भी subject missing है. And if the subject is missing, we have to use it. It's very hot today. It's very hot today. Sentence number 14. Teacher by punished he the boss. So he was punished by the teacher. He was punished by the teacher. So student, first we have to come to know about the sentence. He was punished by the teacher. In which form the sentence is it? The sentence is in passive voice form. And how will you come to know the sentence is in passive voice form? Whenever is rm, was, were are used, is rm, was, were are used with third form of the mind. third form of the main verb. Normally we use third form of the main verb with has, have and have. But when we use is, rm, was, were, and the third form of the main verb is used, so the particular sentence is in passive voice form. And what is the tense of the sentence? The tense of the sentence is past indefinite. It's a past indefinite because was is used here. If the is used here, so it's a present indefinite. But was is used here, so it's a past indefinite. The last one sentence is the more practice you perfect, the more you. So the answer of this one, the more you practice, the more you perfect. The more you practice, the more you perfect. The Hindi meaning of this one is जितना ज्यादा आप अभ्यास करेंगे उतना ही आप परफेक्ट होंगे, उतना ही आप परफेक्ट होंगे. So practice word is written over here. Practice. If the spelling of practice is